Keith Thurman. Keith one-time Thurman. At one time, he disappeared from the sport, went up in the mountains of Kathmandu. You know what I mean? Then found him a wife start playing the flute.
I mean, he started turning into Once Upon a Time. He's just what, a 3-year layoff we're talking about right now. He came back. He came back to fight this Brock kid after 3 years over in Sydney, Australia.
His last fight was,
It was
yeah,
against
3 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
against Mario Barrios,
this
man.
was a 3-year layoff we're talking about here.
Yeah. Yo, Keith, what's up, man? Yo, hey, look, Keith Thurman at one point was like one of my favorite fighters, man. He was real exciting. He was really putting guys to sleep. Went on a hell of a run. I mean, let's be real. Like Keith Thurman, his record is still impeccable, man. I mean, he's 31-1 now after his victory over Brock Jarvis. Keith Thurman, man. Like I think he's kind of because of the long layoffs in between fights. I think before, let me check. His last fight. All right, it's been 3 years since he fought Mario Barrios, and it was almost 3 years between the Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios fight.
So we're looking at over 5 years. We're looking at close to 6 years with 2 fights.
Back to Keith Thurman, man. Back to Keith Thurman. Let's analyze his legacy before we get to his last fight against Brock Jarvis. And remember, a lot of people forget that the brand, Premier Boxing Champions, Al Heyman and the folks over there.
Mm-hmm.
Their first premier fighter, to really boost their brand was Keith Thurman. And I think after the Jesus Soto Carras fight is where he really started to make his name, going on to beat Julio Diaz, Leonard Bundu. He beat Robert Guerrero, Luis Collazo, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Jose Cito Lopez, and then finally he gets to fight with Manny Pacquiao. Which is I'm here with you.
There's the fight with Pacquiao. You see Pacquiao after he said that. Pause that real quick. I mean, wait a minute. Put that on pause real quick now. There you see Pacquiao catching him with that sneaky right hand. Now, he said that in this fight, right, Pacquiao was like the T-Rex. He said he had the little T-Rex arms, and he wouldn't be able to hit him because he had the little T-Rex arms, and he would just be able to hit him with them straight shots, right? This is what Thurman said coming into the fight, right? Now we seen that in the first round, end of the first round, what the little arm did. We see what the little arm did. See, he wasn't watching the tapes. He wasn't watching the feet movement of Pacquiao. And I had never, ever seen him that boisterous before a fight. But go ahead.
Well, I think he discounted. I mean, he looked at the arm, but he discounted the feet. Manny Pacquiao got really quick feet at the same time. So, and Pacquiao's a legend.
He was hurting that bro. But there you go, Keith Thurman coming on. I was at the end of the fight. In the 11th round, Keith Thurman really started coming on strong. The second half of the fight, I must admit, Keith Thurman did show in this fight he was no dog, and he was not going to just go out and accept defeat. He fought up until the very last round. The fight was close. They called it a split decision. So, it was close even to the judges judging the fight. They didn't even all agree. But at the end, I thought it was a close one. I know you believe that Pacquiao, that Thurman actually won. I thought that Pacquiao probably edged it off with that knockdown. So now we can honestly say that Keith Thurman in the ring has never showed that he was a dog, or if he did, it wasn't so much.
Now, Danny Garcia at the time.
That's a fight.
I think if I'm not mistaken, this was a unification bout.
This was a unification fight. This was 2 undefeated fighters. This was a, who's the man. This was a who's the man fight. I personally thought this fight was very close. Could have went either way. It was again a split decision, which to me, I was starting to me the luster on Thurman was starting to appear. There you see Thurman fighting his way as he was backing up, retreating in the last round, it looked like he thought he had it won, so he tried to just move around, which I didn't like how he employed that style in that fight. I thought that he barely won that fight. Like, and I was rooting for him. I was really rooting for him, but I felt like he barely won that fight.
So after Keith Thurman fights Danny Garcia, he goes and he fights Josecito Lopez, end up losing, and beats him, end up losing to Manny Pacquiao. And then he takes like I said, he takes a sabbatical, goes up in the mountains of Kathmandu, started playing the flute.
He was doing that,
and then made his, yeah, man, ayahuasca and all of that up there. You know what I mean? Found him a wife.
With Will Smith.
Then got him a bride. Came out the mountains all happy, smiling, but not fighting. You know, I think he got injured. Then he came back against Mario Barrios, who moved up, I believe, from 140. I think he was a 140 fighter. Moved up to 147 to fight Keith Thurman. And I thought this was a pretty good fight. I thought that of course I had Thurman winning. And this is the first time we got to see Keith Thurman with the hairline, the Stephen A. Smith hairline. You know what I mean? Had his wig pushed back, cut off the ponytail, and cut the braids. And he fought Mario Barrios in was that a split or was it a unanimous decision? Yeah, he fought. Yeah, he was a unanimous. It was a unanimous decision.
That was a unanimous decision right there.
Yeah.
A well-deserved unanimous decision too. It wasn't even a question about that.
I thought, a lot of people thought he probably would knock out Mario Barrios considering he was moving up. But Mario Barrios was a good fighter, tough guy.
Nah, he didn't get the knockout, but he beat the shit out that boy.
Nah, I thought it was a good fight.
You seen his eye all cut up and whatnot, man. That boy eye was deteriorating in that fight.
Yeah, for sure.
He did that boy dirty, man. You know what I mean? So, talking about his return, he came back. He was talking about the last fight. Now let's talk about this fight right here.
Right.
My man came out there with his kids looking like an
action.
Bring
that back. Yo, bro, your man looked like, he looked like an action figure. He over there looked like Slosh.
Was he limping? No, man, was he limping? He looked a little sore. What was going on in here? Like something was going on in the locker room. He's like, you know what I mean?
He was out in Australia, you know what I mean, throwing them boomerangs, man. You know,
I ain't gonna lie, he was jacked up doing this guy come out. I don't know where he going. I don't know where he thought he was at. This brother, like he had SeaWorld or something. I don't know what type of circus he thought he was going to. You know what I mean? They go with that cocky ass stare. You know what I mean?
Back with the hairline again. He took a little bit more.
Now that right hand, that looping right hand, which is the one time. That's the one time punch right there. It was finding his mark. There you see my man. Now that all started with a body shot. If you bring that back, you'll see that little rally that he started. It was a body shot that he hurt him with, and then he began backing him up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough though. You see, he held on and clinched. And there you go with that right hand again.
He was landing some good body shots, man.
Who's that? Thurman?
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see that again. Hold on. Wait a minute. Boot.
Yeah, that was a nice to the body.
Bang, bang, bing, bang. Uppercut.
Split him. Yeah, I was picture perfect right there.
Yo, who's his barber?
You couldn't ask for. It's the third round. We don't know who this kid is. He was supposed to do this to Jarvis. Jarvis really didn't belong in the ring except for the highlight. We know Zoo was corner. Zoo was ringside. Tim Zoo. We're looking at a possible. Oh, good Lord! Look at that. That he rocked that boy. That ref said he's seen enough.
I thought you made a good point though. He was supposed to do this. It was good to see him, get a knockout win against a fighter that nobody heard of. I mean, the dude name is Brock, last name Jarvis. I don't know, he sounded like a computer program or something. But I mean, he was jacked up. He looked like he came to fight. But the experience of Keith Thurman, the power, and despite the long layoff, you want to come back, get a quote unquote soft touch, which it was. But I think had he not gotten a knockout, it would have been disappointment. And it would be because Keith Thurman got a 31 and 1 record. He only lost to the legend Manny Pacquiao, right?
Right.
His resume is world class. And he was looked at as one of the top fighters, especially in welterweight, one of the top fighters in the world. And to take, to have 2 fights over the past, what we talking about? We said 5 years, 10 years, something craziness like.
Yeah, I know, right? Almost 6. What? I could 2
Yeah,
albums
like,
in 5 years. I could divide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, that's a bit crazy. If he would have came back and not knocked him out, people would have been like, "Oh, he's washed." Now I will say we can't put too much merit or give too much of, Keith Thurman knocked out Brock Jarvis. It's like, who? But he came back and did what he's supposed to do against a fighter that's not on his level. So that was good to see. But he's now in the 154-pound division. You got Errol Spence trying to make a comeback now. Could we see that fight? Tim Tszyu, like you said, was in the crowd. The fight was in Australia. Him being Australian, he got the fight. He got a fight against he got a crossroads, somewhat of a crossroads fight between him and Joey Spencer coming up. So he wins that fight. It's looking like him and Keith Thurman might be on the collision course to get in title contention. Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman, that sounds like the fight that needs to happen.
Sounds like the fight.
That sounds like the fight. But I wouldn't be mad if Joey Spencer was the win and fight Keith Thurman. I think that'll be a good fight. But I think Tim Tszyu, just for the styles, I think Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman, good fight. I will probably lean towards Keith Thurman in that fight, to be honest. But it's like, what happens after that, right? What happens after that? Because again, you got Errol Spence, who he disappeared after his back alley mugging against Terrence Crawford. He's moving up to 154. We don't know where he's going to land. The Fundora fight didn't pass. Fundora about to fight. I think his fight is coming up just now. He didn't get the Fundora fight that everybody was acting like it was about to happen. So does he fight a Keith Thurman on the comeback? Because we know Spence got a reputation of like, I don't want no soft touches. I want to come back and fight the best fighter I could possibly fight. Well, is that a fight that he would entertain now?
Both of them are on the comeback.
Spence, Keith Thurman. Yeah.
I definitely don't see why he wouldn't entertain it, as far as, getting a good win over a opponent who has a name like Thurman does. Thurman is back in action. He was impressive. It might not have been against a world beater. However, he was still impressive. He still has the resume he needs. But the question becomes, though, is that a fight that Thurman should even take? Both of them are actually coming back. Like both of them. I would definitely favor Thurman over Tszyu. But here's the thing, right? Because to me, that's the perfect fight for Thurman. The perfect fight for Thurman is Tszyu.
Got the name cachet
and
the style matchup. I think it's good
for him to come out there and make himself a player again by looking good. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, if he can come out there and look good against Spence, he makes a claim. Not Spence, I'm sorry. Pardon me. Against Tszyu. Now, if the Tszyu fight doesn't materialize and Tszyu doesn't get past Spence, there's the option to possibly fight Spence or who else? Because does he go back to fighting a Brock Jarvis just to continue to boost his confidence and rack up another good win, hoping that, he'll be able to keep his name good for a big fight? Or does he just look for a big fight? Does he look for someone like a returning Spence to come back and try to make a big fight?
Thurman, you beat Tim Tszyu, call out Errol Spence. Errol Spence, you accept that fight. Say, I'm jumping right in the shark water. I'm going at Keith Thurman, somebody who I should have fought at 147. He called me out. He's in line for a championship. I beat him. I'm right there getting lined up for a title too. And it's a fight that'll sell. Yeah. It's a fight. I'm buying that. I'm buying that off top. I'm buying that. So, I think if I'm Errol Spence, I'm waiting to see what happens between Tim Tszyu and or maybe get a warm-up fight in between. Like, if he just finished fighting the action figure over there, Keith Thurman did. Let him get his Tim Tszyu fight and beat him. And then Spence get a little warm up, and you jump right in there and get Keith Thurman. That's pay-per-view, baby. That's pay-per-view.
We're not going to be able to tell where Thurman is at beating up on Jarvis Brock. We're just not. Yeah, man.
That's true. That's right.
We know that he still has his power, and we know that he still knows how to throw his punches with his form. But that's the only thing we were really able to really tell in that fight.
That's right.
With that being said, we haven't seen anything from Spence since he fought and got destroyed. Since he got destroyed, and there was question after question after question after that ass whooping. That ass whooping created questions that we didn't even know we was thinking about. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, both of them have that question mark. Are they still elite level fighters? That's what the question is. They were definitely in the elite when it comes to, you know, the tiers of boxing, but do they still belong in that elite level? I don't rank Thurman in the top 10 pound for pound fighters today.
No.
I probably
definitely not.
He probably is somewhere in the top 30 outside of the top 25.
I think due to inactivity, okay, I'll give you that. But
3 years, bruh. That's a lot. At 36, there's too many questions to just put him there. To just say he's still where he was, there's too many questions.
I'm not
that need to be answered.
I'm not saying that. I think his resume, the fact that he came back again, had he came back and not did what he did against Brock Jarvis, if he came back and just looked like slower,
if he struggled, basically. If he struggled
beating the guy one by split decision, I'd have been like, he got him up out of here, man. Packed him up fast. Get him up out of here. Let me get my check. Let me go back up into the mountains, Kathmandu, because I want the knife. You know what I'm saying? He went up there, you know what I'm saying, looking for the golden child, me. So I'm not gonna just like say Keith Thurman necessarily lost a step. We just haven't seen him against the top tier competition due to inactivity. I need to see him against Tim Tszyu.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.